Nobody expected the storm that rolled over Nebula Ridge that night, the kind that made every streetlight flicker and every heart beat a little faster. And as the winds rose, Leora Viridian realized she was about to cross paths with the one person she had been trying, desperately, to avoid. She had spent weeks keeping her distance from Kalen Drax, the quiet astronomer with eyes that always seemed to look straight through the noise of the world. He was brilliant, gentle, and impossible to read, which terrified her more than any storm ever could. Leora didn't mind the sound of thunder. She minded the sound of her own heartbeat whenever Kalen was near. She had promised herself she would stay focused on her research at the Ridge Observatory, keep things simple, and ignore whatever strange pull lingered between them. Feelings were unpredictable, and after everything she had been through, she wanted predictable. Yet fate had its own way of rearranging carefully built plans. The night began like any other. Leora finishing her shift, collecting scattered hollow tablet notes, and wrapping her scarf tight against the cold. But the moment she stepped into the corridor, the power grid trembled, lights flickered, and the entire observatory hummed with unsettling energy. She should have kept walking. She should have gone straight home. But she heard his voice. "Leora, wait." She froze. She knew that voice too well. Warm, calm, somehow steady, even while the world shook around them. Kalen appeared from the dim hallway, a faint silver glow reflecting from the star maps he carried. His hair was wind-tousled, and he looked like he had run from one of the upper labs. "You shouldn't be here alone," he said softly. "The storm's getting worse." "I'm fine," she answered quickly, trying to sound cool, unshaken. But her pulse betrayed her. He stepped closer, not too close, just enough that she could feel his sincerity. "Listen, something strange is happening. The instruments picked up an energy cluster we've never seen before. I wanted to show you before they shut down the grid." She hesitated. Sharing discoveries with Kalen always felt easy, too easy. And that was exactly the problem. "I really should go," she said, keeping her gaze on the floor. "Leora," he murmured, "you've been avoiding me." Her breath caught. She didn't know how to lie to him. He always noticed everything, the slightest shift in tone, every small hesitation. "I'm just busy," she whispered. He gave a soft, almost sad smile. "You're brilliant, but you don't have to pretend around me." The storm growled outside, shaking the windowed walls. For a moment, they stood there in the pulsing half-light, two people who shouldn't have been standing that close, in that silence, on a night that felt like it carried secrets. Kalen held out the star map. "Come with me," he said, "just for a moment. If the grid shuts down, we might lose the readings forever." "I don't want to see that discovery vanish, not without showing you first." She didn't want to go. She wanted to run from whatever this was. But she also knew Kalen wasn't dramatic by nature. If he said something was strange, it usually meant something extraordinary. So she followed him. They walked through the darkened observatory, lights flickering above them. A low hum vibrated through the floors, soft, rhythmic, almost like a heartbeat buried beneath the earth. "Do you hear that?" she asked. Kalen nodded. "That's what I wanted to show you." When they reached the central lab, he activated a display panel. A holographic projection surged to life, revealing a swirling pattern of light, delicate, fractal, almost alive. Leora stepped closer, mesmerized. "It looks like it's responding to something," she whispered. "It is," Kalen said quietly. "That's what I wanted to show you." When they reached the central lab, he activated a display panel. A holographic projection surged to life, revealing a swirling pattern of light, delicate, fractal, almost alive. Leora stepped closer, mesmerized. "It looks like it's responding to something," she whispered. "It is," Kalen said quietly. "It reacted the moment you walked in." She turned to him slowly, breath unsteady. That doesn't make sense. But Kaylin was watching her with an expression she had never seen before, one filled with awe, confusion, and something deeper he didn't dare name. "I think," he said softly, "this is connected to you." The storm boomed overhead, rattling every window in the observatory. And just as Leora reached out toward the swirling holographic light, it brightened, glowing with stunning, impossible warmth. She gasped. Kaylin stepped forward, instinctively grabbing her arm. The energy pulsed again. Something was beginning. The light hovering above the console shimmered like a living heartbeat, rising and falling in a quiet rhythm that made the air feel warmer than it should. Leora tried to steady her breathing, but the glow pulsed again, bright enough to cast soft gold across her face. Kaylin didn't move. He just watched her with that calm intensity he always carried, gentle, steady, never pushing, yet noticing absolutely everything. "I didn't do anything," Leora whispered. "I know," he answered, voice low. "That's what makes it strange." The storm outside hammered against the observatory dome, wind howling, lights flickering like a nervous pulse overhead. But in the lab, the glow softened the sharp edges of the moment, wrapping the room in something almost comforting. Leora pulled her arm from Kaylin's hold, not abruptly, just enough to create space before her thoughts tangled any deeper. She needed clarity, not the confusing warmth that always followed his touch. "How long has this anomaly been here?" she asked. Kaylin stepped to the console, fingers moving across floating controls. "A few hours, but it didn't react to anyone else, only you." "That can't be right." "Leora," he said softly, "I ran the readings 3 times." She swallowed hard. She didn't want to be connected to something mysterious and unpredictable. She had spent months trying to maintain order in her life, to keep her world steady after everything that had nearly broken her before coming to Nebula Ridge. "This is probably just a coincidence," she murmured. Kaylin gave her a gentle look that wasn't quite agreement. "Maybe, but you should know this pattern. Its frequency, the way it shifts, it resembles something I've seen only once." He pulled up another hologram, a faint archival recording. Swirls of soft violet moved in perfect symmetry, different from the golden glow, but sharing the same elegant rhythm. Leora leaned closer. "What is that?" "An echo field," Kaylin said. "It appears in rare meteor fragments. Some believe it responds to, well, emotional proximity." She blinked. "That's not scientific." He shrugged lightly. "Neither is half of what we discover up here. But the resonance changes around certain people. It's like the energy senses when someone carries depth." She crossed her arms, unsure how to respond. Depth was the last thing she felt she had left. She had spent so long pushing feelings down that she barely recognized them anymore. The glow pulsed again, brightening the moment her thoughts grew heavier. Kaylin noticed. "See?" he murmured. "I don't want this," she whispered, almost to herself. He stepped closer, careful not to overwhelm her. "You're not in danger, and you're not alone in this." Those words hung in the air, warm and steady. Leora wished she could let them in without fear twisting inside her. Before she could speak, the floor vibrated beneath them. A deeper rumble, different from the storm, echoed from somewhere below the observatory. Kaylin's eyes widened. "That wasn't thunder," he said. They hurried into the corridor, following the trembling hum. Emergency lights flickered on, painting the hallway in soft red. "What's happening?" Leora asked. Kaylin checked the wall display. The lower power grid just surged. Something interfered with the main lines. "From the anomaly?" He hesitated. "I don't know, but it's possible." The rumble faded, leaving the observatory dangerously quiet. Leora felt a sharp twist in her chest. She wanted to stay steady. She wanted to stay distant from Kaylin, from whatever this strange connection was building between them. But fate, it seemed, had other ideas. A soft blue glow flickered at the far end of the corridor. Not lightning, not emergency lights, something else. Kaylin instinctively reached for her hand, and though she didn't take it, she didn't step away either. Together, they walked toward the glow. As they turned the corner, they found the source, a faint, swirling light hovering just above the floor, shaped almost like a drifting ribbon. Leora's breath caught. It followed us. Kaylin studied the floating shimmer, awe widening his expression. This wasn't here moments ago. The ribbon of light curled toward Leora, slow and graceful, as if sensing her presence. It hovered only a few inches away, glowing gently. "I don't understand," she whispered. "Why me?" Kaylin's voice softened. "Maybe you're connected to something you don't remember yet." The ribbon brightened, then flickered out, disappearing like it had never been there at all. Leora felt the weight of the moment settle deep in her chest. Whatever was happening, it had only just begun. And she wasn't sure she could keep running from Kaylin or from the truth much longer. The lights above them flickered again, then went completely dark. The moment the lights went out, the entire observatory fell into a hush so complete it felt almost unreal. Leora stood still, listening to the soft rattle of rain against the dome and the far-off groan of shifting metal. A faint glow rose from Kaylin's wrist device, just enough to reveal the outline of his face. "We need to get to the auxiliary hub," he said gently. "It's the only place with a manual override." Leora nodded, though a shiver slipped down her spine. Not from the cold, from the sense that the darkness wasn't empty at all. As they moved down the corridor, the emergency device cast small circles of light with each step. Leora stayed close, not because she needed protection, but because the silence felt thicker than before, almost as if the building was holding its breath. "Kaylin," she whispered, "what if the anomaly didn't just react to me? What if it triggered something?" He slowed slightly. "It's possible," he admitted, "but we don't know enough yet, and we won't until we restart the systems." They turned toward the spiral staircase that led to the lower level. Halfway down, the railing vibrated beneath Leora's hand. She froze. "Did you feel that?" Kaylin stopped immediately. Another tremor rippled through the metal, soft, rhythmic, familiar. The same pattern she heard earlier, the same pulse that came from the energy cluster. Kaylin's eyes met hers. "It followed us down here too." Her chest tightened. She tried to steady her breath, but it felt like the air was shifting around them. When they reached the base of the staircase, a soft flicker lit up the hallway. Not bright, not threatening, just present. A drifting trail of golden particles floated near the floor, slowly rising like sparks from a gentle fire. Leora's voice trembled despite her efforts. "It's the same pattern." Kaylin stepped forward, but the glow shifted away from him, drifting instead toward her, slow, deliberate, unmistakably responsive. He looked back at her, awe softening his expression. "It's searching for you." She shook her head. "That doesn't make sense. Energy fields don't choose people." "Maybe this one does." Leora closed her eyes for a moment, steadying herself. She didn't want to be connected to something extraordinary. Extraordinary meant unpredictable, and unpredictable had cost her too much before. But the glow hovered near her hand, warm and steady, not pushing, just waiting. She reached out cautiously, stopping an inch away from the light. The moment she did, the particles brightened, gathering into a small sphere that pulsed rhythmically. Not chaotic, not dangerous, almost comforting. "It feels alive," she whispered. Kaylin stepped closer, his voice gentle. "Maybe it's trying to communicate." Before she could respond, the sphere flickered sharply, once, twice, then shot down the hallway in a streak of gold. Leora gasped. "It wants us to follow." Kaylin nodded. "Come on." They chased the faint glow through the dim corridor. It led them straight to the auxiliary hub door, where it finally paused, hovering only a few inches above the keypad. "You don't think it wants me to open it?" Leora asked. Kaylin looked at the glowing sphere. "I think it's guiding us." She pressed her palm to the manual panel. The door slid open with a low hiss, revealing a room bathed in soft blue emergency light. Inside, the sphere floated toward the central console and dissolved into tiny sparks that drifted across the surface, like it was leaving a message behind. Leora stepped closer. Symbols began forming across the console screen, symbols she recognized instantly. Her breath caught. "These are from the Celestine Archive," she said. "I studied them years ago." Kaylin stared at her. "Leora, that archive was locked away for a reason. How would the energy know you could read it?" "I don't know," she whispered, "but I can." She reached out and traced the glowing symbols as they arranged themselves into a single, cohesive phrase. It wasn't a warning. It wasn't a threat. It was a name. Her name, written in ancient celestial script. She stepped back, heart pounding. "That's impossible." Kaylin's voice dropped to a near whisper. "You said you didn't want to be connected to anything extraordinary, but I think you already were, long before tonight." The console flickered again. New symbols appeared, rushing, urgent. Leora leaned in, eyes widening. "It's telling us something else." "What does it say?" Kaylin asked. She hesitated, breath trembling. "It says, 'He remembers you.'" Before Kaylin could speak, the room vibrated, lights flashing, panels humming, and a new glow formed behind them. Not gold, not gentle, a deep, rising blue. Leora and Kaylin turned slowly as the air thickened with energy, and something began to emerge. A deep blue shimmer filled the room, rising like mist from the floor and swirling into a gentle vortex. Leora instinctively stepped back, her breath catching, while Kaylin shifted slightly in front of her, not shielding her, just standing steady, ready. The light wasn't harsh. It wasn't loud or violent. It felt familiar. Too familiar. "Leora," Kaylin murmured, "stay close." She nodded, though her pulse was thundering in her ears. The blue glow thickened, gathering shape. No sharp edges, no clear outline, just a soft silhouette formed from light itself. And then, as if the energy were learning how to breathe, it spoke. Not with sound, but with a warm resonance that filled the space. "Leora." Her knees trembled. She knew that tone, not the exact voice, but the feeling beneath it, a pull she hadn't felt in years. Kaylin glanced at her, reading the change in her expression. "Do you know it?" "I don't know," she whispered, though her heart argued otherwise. The silhouette shifted, shimmering like starlight caught in motion. "You remember, even if you don't want to." Leora's breath hitched. "No," she said softly, "that's not possible." Kaylin's voice stayed calm and grounding. "Leora, what's happening? What are you remembering?" She closed her eyes for a moment, pressing a shaking hand against the console. "I studied the Celestine Archive for years, before coming here, before everything in my life changed." She swallowed hard. There was a theory about sentient energy fields, echoes left behind by travelers who vanished centuries ago. Kaylin absorbed her words with a thoughtful stillness. "And you think this is one of those echoes?" "I didn't think they were real," she whispered. "None of us did." The blue silhouette brightened, pulsing with emotion, almost like a sigh. "You knew me once, before the forgetting." Leora shook her head again, her voice barely audible. "I never met you. I would remember something like this. But a fragment of memory flickered at the edge of her thoughts, soft, distant, like the outline of a dream she had pushed away long ago. A star map, an old research chamber, a figure made of light standing beside her while she whispered a promise she could no longer recall. Kaylin stepped closer, searching her face. "Leora, you look like you're seeing something." She didn't answer right away. Her eyes stayed locked on the shimmering form. "What are you?" she asked, voice trembling. The silhouette tilted gently, like a bow given in reverence. "I was called Sarian once. You gave me that name." The air left Leora's lungs. Kaylin's eyebrows lifted. "You named it?" "I shouldn't have," she murmured. "If this is real, if this is truly Sarian, then I was part of something I wasn't supposed to understand." The blue glow shifted again, brighter, warmer. "You were the only one who tried to help, the only one who listened. And when the chamber collapsed, you tried to save me, though it cost you your memory." Leora's hand flew to her mouth. A cold rush washed through her entire body. "I don't remember any of that," she whispered. "Because you were protected," the presence replied gently. "Your mind hid the memory to keep you safe, but I remained, waiting, searching, until I found your resonance again." Kaylin watched her with a mixture of awe and concern. "Leora, this means you made contact with a sentient field long before tonight." "But that shouldn't be possible," she said weakly. "I was just a junior researcher. I wasn't allowed near the advanced chambers." "Maybe someone made an exception," Kaylin said. "Or maybe you were chosen long before you understood why." The blue glow hummed in agreement. "You are connected to me by choice, not accident. And now, something is waking across the ridge, something calling to both of us." Leora felt the air shift again, a ripple of energy brushing against her skin like a soft wind. Kaylin steadied her with a gentle touch to her elbow. "What does it mean by waking?" Sarion's light dimmed slightly, as if weighing its words. "The storm is not natural. Something beneath Nebula Ridge stirs, a source that responds to heart echoes. And Leora, it responds to yours most of all." Leora's pulse quickened. "I don't want this," she whispered, voice shaking. "I didn't ask for any of this." "I know," Sarion answered gently, "but fate listens to the quiet choices you made long ago." Kaylin's gaze softened as he stepped closer. "You're not facing this alone, not anymore." The blue glow brightened suddenly, flooding the room with warm light. And then, like a breath held too long, the silhouette dissolved, leaving behind only a faint shimmer drifting toward the exit corridor. Leora stared at the fading light, her heart pounding in a mix of fear, memory, and something she couldn't yet name. "It wants us to follow," she whispered. Kaylin nodded slowly. "And whatever it's leading us to, it's something huge." Leora took one step toward the corridor. Her voice barely rose above a whisper. "What if the truth changes everything?" The hallway lights flickered once. Then a low hum echoed from deep beneath the ridge, as if something ancient had just awakened. The hum beneath Nebula Ridge grew steadier as Leora stepped into the dim corridor, her pulse matching its rhythm. Kaylin stayed close beside her, walking with a calm purpose that steadied her, even when she felt anything but steady. A soft trail of blue shimmer drifted ahead of them, like quiet footprints made of light. Sarion's essence was guiding them deeper, beyond the auxiliary hub, past darkened labs, down toward a section of the observatory most researchers never even saw. Leora's breath fogged in the cooling air. This path wasn't on any of the maps I studied. Kalen brushed his fingers along the wall. That's because it's not part of the modern grid. This wing is older than the current facility, much older. A chill slid through her. If it's that old, why is it waking now? Maybe it was waiting for someone who could hear it, he said softly. Someone like her. The thought made her chest tighten. They descended an unlit staircase, following the faint shimmer until it led them to a heavy door embedded in stone. Not metal, not the clean lines of advanced tech. Stone, smooth, pale, carved with the same celestial symbols Leora had spent years studying. Her heart thudded. I've seen markings like these, but only in fragmented records. Kaylin stepped back, giving her room. Looks like they weren't fragments after all. The symbols across the door glowed faintly as Leora reached out, her fingertips trembling. The moment she touched the stone, warmth pulsed beneath her hand. The hum shifted, gentler now, almost welcoming. Light flowed through each carved symbol, one by one, until the entire door shone like a star. Then, without a sound, it opened. A soft breath escaped her. The chamber inside glowed with a delicate blend of gold and blue, swirling patterns moving across the walls like living constellations. Sarion's light formed again, gentle and steady, near the center of the room. Welcome home, Leora. Her throat tightened. I don't understand. How could this place be connected to me? Kaylin stood beside her, voice low. Maybe it's not about who you were, but who you're meant to be. Sarion drifted closer, its form more stable now, energy flowing smoothly, as if the chamber itself strengthened it. This sanctuary was built by those who walked between worlds. They left behind echoes, guardians to protect what could not be lost. You were once chosen to study this place, to help unlock what lies within. Leora's breath shook. I was just a researcher. I didn't deserve something like this. You did, Sarion replied gently. Not because you were perfect, but because your heart listened. She looked toward Kaylin, who gave her a small, encouraging nod, the kind that told her she didn't have to face this alone. The chamber brightened suddenly, and in its center, a crystalline structure rose from the floor, a delicate tower of light drifting within a transparent column. Energy swirled inside it like calm starlight. What is that? Kaylin asked quietly. Sarion's voice softened with reverence. The Heartstone, the source of the echo fields, dormant for generations until your resonance woke it. Leora's chest tightened. Why me? Why now? Because you finally stopped running from the part of you that remembers wonder, and because fate does not abandon those it chooses with care. The Heartstone pulsed, soft, warm, as if acknowledging her presence. A quiet peace settled through her, not certainty, not perfect understanding, but acceptance, gentle and slowly blooming. She stepped closer. The Heartstone brightened with each of her breaths. Kaylin moved to her side. You're not alone in this, he murmured, and whatever this place needs from you, we'll face it together. The word together anchored her like nothing else. Leora placed her palm against the faint shimmer around the Heartstone. Light flared, bright but not blinding, spreading through the chamber like waves of warmth. Memories she never knew she had flickered through her mind. A younger version of herself standing in this very room. Sarion beside her, gentle, curious, her laughter echoing through the chamber as she promised she'd return one day. Her eyes filled with soft tears. I remember, she whispered. Sarion's glow deepened, warm with relief. Then the ridge remembers you too. The chamber's light settled into a calm, steady glow. The storm outside quieted, the hum beneath them fading into peace. When the brightness softened, Kaylin reached for her hand, not pulling, not leading, simply offering silent support. She didn't hesitate this time. She took his hand, fingers steady. A long breath left her as the truth settled gently around her. She wasn't running anymore. She wasn't lost. And she wasn't alone. Sirian's final words drifted through the chamber like a promise. What awakens here will guide your path, and the hearts you trust will guide the rest. The glow dimmed softly, folding into the air like a sigh of gratitude before dissolving into the chamber walls. Leora looked at Kaylin, truly looked, and felt the quiet beginning of something stronger than fear. Something steady, something honest, something like hope. Kaylin squeezed her hand lightly. We should tell the others what we found. She nodded, a small smile forming. We will, but maybe we take one moment first. He smiled too, warm, gentle, unhurried. In the quiet heart of Nebula Ridge, surrounded by ancient light and new beginnings, Leora felt something she hadn't felt in a very long time. Like fate finally made sense.